Feel the warm rays of the sunshine. Take in the scent of the clean air. Taste the crystal clear water. Experience the peacefulness interrupted only by the humming of the bees and the birds. She might have stumbled a little sometime, even fallen, but the shepherd was there, puts her back on her feet. Her soul was restored. She can rejoice. She can say, as we have sung, it is well for my soul. But there was picture number 2, and we will see. Yeah, verse 4. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Many of us knew that she went through this valley. It was a hard valley. Sometimes, of course, I think you might discuss that maybe if the Lord will give us a chance, we probably wouldn't want to go that way, isn't it? It was hard. It was long. It was difficult. But you see, I think Nen can always say, through the valley, I can still rejoice. Because, for one reason, just one reason, the Lord is with me. I like this psalm because the Lord said, we will be going through the valley of death. So I will stop here at the entrance of the tunnel, and I'll go to the end of the tunnel and wait for you there. No, the Lord said, I will be with you. Through the valley, she went through this valley, still the Lord was with her. I remember this Footprints in the Sand. You remember that song? Footprints in the Sand. There were 2 sets of footprints. And when there was a time when it was really the hardest, she was disturbed, the dreamer was disturbed because there was only 1 set of footprints. And says, Lord, why is it that during the time of the hardest experience in my life, there was only 1 set of footprints? And the Lord said, yes, there was only 1 because that was the time when I carried you. That set of footprints belongs only to the Lord. And it seems, and I am very sure that this has what really exactly happened, even to Nen Carpena. Because God is the shepherd. He was willing to went through the valley. The valley of the shadow of death reminds me, and many of us, that someone went through that darkest of all valleys, for you and for me. It reminds us of the carpenter from Nazareth, who left with his nails and wood to minister to us, only to find those nails and wood again in the form of a cross. Mark chapter 15, 16 to 20. This does not sound like a palace, of course, for us. Jesus is our king, but this king came one day on a Friday in Jerusalem, the good shepherd, silently but unmistakably proved to be the sheep of the world, that he would be the going on through the valley of the shadow of death. Alone, despised, rejected by humanity, stricken and smitten, afflicted, pierced and crushed, punished and wounded, beaten, bruised, bleeding, oppressed, cut off from the land of the wicked, and the living, and assigned a grave with the wicked. With this thought, they led him out to crucify him, the darkest of all valleys. But no, he didn't fear evil. He took evil on himself for us and for you and for me, for our peace, for our care, for our rest. And he did it also for Nen. The next picture that you will see, it was dark through the valley, but verse 5, it seems that we immediately went out of the tunnel, and it was light, and in fact, it was celebration. You prepared a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. A table, especially in Asia, is almost always representing victory, isn't it? Nice celebrations are always represented with a table. Graduation, eating. Okay, what? Birthdays, eating. What? What else? We have here experienced potlucks. At the end of a semester, this is what the Lord did. And He will be doing for Nen. He has prepared a table for her through the valley. But then there was the shepherd. Prepared a table before me in the presence of my enemies. My cup runneth over, surely goodness. And then there's the last picture that we'll see, and this is where she is going. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me in the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This is where she is going, and that is why we don't feel so sad anymore. So what is death? Death to an atheist, but an end. A trip out of life. And to the end, people cry over this one, for he think he is forever gone. Death, what is death? To an unbeliever, a terror, a trip out of life to hell. And he knows it, a desperate call for a minister, and slipping off to a fearful unknown, sir. Death, what is death? To the Christian, to a believer, and to Nen, Carpena, it is a joyful break. Before seeing the Lord from an earthly trek, they slip away in happiness, for they see their Lord a coming in gladness. There is no sadness in their home, even if time passes by, for in the sweet by and by, they shall meet again in that beautiful shore. So to Nen from Aya's church, I thought that the ladies choir are still here. I would like to give them an opportunity to say goodbye, but seems not all of them are here. But maybe many of you can still be here, can still say your goodbye. So we say to Nining, paalam. We say to Nining, sayonara, for the Japanese. Maybe, can you focus to one Indonesian there and say to Nining, selamat, selamat jalan. From the Indian community, can you say paalam or goodbye to Nining? Mrs. Gekwad, Dr. Gekwad, what is that in? Bese? Okay. For the Korean community, can you say goodbye to Nining? I don't think they are here because they have a big meeting there in the auditorium. I asked them what it is ang yang he kasayo. For the Spanish community here, can you say goodbye? Mrs. Bimeister, Dr. Bimeister? Okay. What else? Swahili. Can you say goodbye to Nining? Maybe Jimilin. Probably you know Swahili now. I think they probably went to... And so we say, Nining, goodbye. Paalam, sayonara. See you at the end of the tunnel. See you in the morning. See you. And we can say with confidence, we will see you again. Because for us, as it has always been for you, Jesus is also our shepherd.
And I want to celebrate the life of my dear friend Nen that I really came to know about 8 years ago. And Nen, in fact, came to my life as the secretary of the nominating committee when Pastor Barrientos was appointed as a new pastor. Remember, Pastor? When we met, and Nen was the secretary. And as the chair of the nominating committee, I was quite new to the campus and this committee. Okay, I was still getting to know many people, but Nen kept the minutes so wonderfully, and she organized the proceedings so beautifully, and it was a very effective committee because of Nen. And I learned a lot about how to be efficient and organized from Nen. And I invited her to join the choir, the ladies' choir that had been organized by then, and she joined. And She sat with me in the alto section almost every time we were together, and we stood together. The choir, today she wasn't there. And we were also together in the church potluck group. Today was our group that provided food for the visitors. We missed her too, and the family today. She would bring those homegrown vegetable salads, and I would admire, and she would say, this is from my garden, this lettuce from my garden, and these leaves, and the fruits from the garden. And so I was inspired to be in the garden, and I worked on my own garden, inspired by her. These are fond memories. And then it happened. It was more than 4 years ago. Nen very bravely announced that she has cancer. Most people are not very brave to announce it, just like that. Okay, being friends, all of us just were heartbroken, but she very bravely announced, and we ladies started praying for her. She kept on living her life, actually. She would come after chemotherapy, as though nothing happened. I would ask her, are you okay, really? You just had this week of chemo. She said, nothing, no problem. She was a person full of joy, and we knew that this didn't come just from her. It was God's love that was sustaining her, and she knew the joy of living, really. And she would share with us some of the testimonies she gave to her classmates, the fellow cancer patients waiting for their turn to come, and how she would testify. And then on subsequent visits, she wouldn't find some of her classmates. They were already gone. And one of the last times when she met with us, she told, all my classmates are really gone now. I'm the only one left from my batch. We told her, keep going, Nen, keep going. What an amazing woman. She was surely encouraged by our group, the women's choir, and she told us that singing was a therapy, and she enjoyed singing. And often, more recently, she would cough because, the lung would be choked, and she would cough. She could hardly sing a line, actually. Sitting near her, I knew that. And I didn't know really how to sympathize. And I would also begin coughing. I didn't know why I was doing that. I would cough, and then, you are also coughing. I told, yeah, I think... Okay, there was no reason for my cough, but it was kind of contagious in terms of emotions, okay? It was not any germs or anything, but that's the only thing I could do to empathize with her. And she came with different hairdos, okay? Scarf and then the wigs, and we would kind of laugh together. Then you have such fine style, and we would laugh. And she was such a fun person. She could not tell bye to us, because when she went to Mindanao recently, it was for vacation, and we thought she's coming back. We kept asking how she's doing. She loved it there in Mindanao, we heard, and we just prayed that she would come back healthier, but it wasn't so. And if Nen were to tell about her immediate past experiences, she would sing a song. This is what she would say, sing. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His word. Now, I thank Him for every mountain. I thank Him for the valleys. And I thank Him for those storms that He brought me through. For if I never had a problem, I would never know that God could solve them. I would never know what faith in God's word can do. Yes, God is always right. That's what she would say. God does not show all the links of the chain. He keeps us in dark for a while. And the spectacle of a child of God suffering is truly inspiring. And Nen was of that kind of an example.